Good morning, students. Today we are going to read Koala Lou. This book was written by Mem Fox and illustrated by Pamela Lofts. While we read today, we're going to think about feelings, how our main character feels. We should be able to describe how our main character feels with our words by looking at the illustrations and facial expressions, and also thinking about the events that happen to our main character and listening to the words that our author uses. Those should help us. Then we keep track of how our character feels throughout the entire story. Koala Lou. There was once a baby koala so soft and round that all who saw her loved her. Her name was Koala Lou. The emu loved her, the platypus loved her, and even tough little koala claws next door loved her. But it was her mother who loved her most of all. 100 times a day she would laugh and shake her head and say, "Koala Lou, I do love you." It's nice when moms tell us that they love us, isn't it? How does it make you feel when your mother tells you that she loves you? Warm, happy, content, safe, secure? I bet Koala Lou feels the same way. She probably just really loves it when Mom says that. Whenever she stretched in the early morning sun, or climbed a gum tree, or bravely went down the path all by herself, her mother would smile and say, "Koala Lou, I do love you." The years passed, and other koalas were born, brothers and sisters for Koala Lou. Soon, her mother was so busy, she didn't have time to tell Koala Lou that she loved her. Although, of course, she did. How do you think that makes Koala Lou feel? Why? How can you tell? Here are all the brothers and sisters. Here's Koala Lou's mother. And here is Koala Lou. What has happened to make her feel so sad? Every night, as she curled up under the stars, Koala Lou thought about the times when her mother had looked at her and said, "Koala Lou, I do love you," and she longed for her to say it again. Do you know what it is to long for something? It means to want it really, really badly, to want it very much, to really wish for it. One night, Koala Lou had a splendid idea, a wonderful, great idea. Preparations had begun for the Bush Olympics. Oh, they're getting ready for the Bush Olympics. She would enter the Olympics. She would compete in the gum tree climbing event, and she would win, and her mother would fling her arms around her neck and say again, "Koala Lou, I do love you." What does Koala Lou want? She wants to hear her mother say that again. And she has a plan. What is her plan? She's going to be in the Bush Olympics. She's going to work really hard and try to win. Koala Lou began her training right away. She jogged and puffed and lifted weights and panted. She hung from a branch with one claw at a time till she ached. She did push-ups till her stomach hurt, and last of all she climbed the tallest tree that she could find over and over and over again. Is she working really hard? Yes, she has a plan, and she is dedicated. She's going to persevere. She will keep working hard to make that plan happen. So I think she's feeling determined. That means that she really, really wants it, and she's willing to work hard for it. She keeps up at it day after day. Sometimes her mother would watch her and ask, "How are you going, Blossom?" "Fine, just fine," Koala Lou would reply. Do you think her mom knows how sad she is about not hearing the words, "Koala Lou, I do love you"? I don't think her mom knows. If something is bothering you and making you feel sad, you have to tell the special adult in your life. They won't know automatically. You would have to communicate it to them, let them know, tell them. At last, the day of the Bush Olympics arrived. Oh, these are all the spectators. Those are people that are going to watch. Koala Claus had also entered the gum tree climbing event, and everyone knew how fast she was, but Koala Lou wasn't scared. She saw her mother in the crowd and imagined her saying again, "Koala Lou, I do love you," and her heart filled with hope. So here she is. She's looking at her mom in the crowd, and she's giving her an okay symbol with her fingers, and she's trying to look up at her, and she's feeling very hopeful. Yes, the author told us, her heart filled with hope. So we don't just look at the facial expressions, we also listen to the author's words. So now she's hopeful. What is she hoping for? It was Koala Claus who went first. Her climb was a record-breaking 22 meters in 70 seconds flat. The spectators whistled and cheered and wildly waved their party hats. Oh, they must be feeling excited. Can I do better than that? Wondered Koala Lou. I must. As she stepped towards the tree, a hush fell over the crowd. On your mark, said the kookaburra. Get set. Go. Koala Lou leapt onto the tree. Up and up and up she climbed, higher and higher and higher, faster and faster and faster until there she was, right at the very top. The spectators roared and clapped and stamped their feet. But she wasn't fast enough. In spite of all her training and all her hoping, it was Koala Claus who won the gum tree climbing. Koala Lou came in second. How do you think that makes her feel? She worked so hard, and she wanted it so much. Koala Lou went off and hid. She heard the shouts of the Bush Olympics, and she cried her heart out. How is our character feeling now? How is Koala Lou feeling now? Why? What has happened to make her feel that way? She didn't win. And? Why did she want to win so badly? She wanted to hear her mother say, "Koala Lou, I do love you." That's what she really wants. When the first stars of the evening appeared in the sky, Koala Lou crept home through the dark and up into the gum tree. Her mother was waiting for her. Before she could say a word, her mother had flung her arms around her neck and said, "Koala Lou, I do love you. I always have, and I always will." And she hugged her for a very long time. How is Koala Lou feeling now? Why? How do you know that? We know it for sure because she got what she wanted. Her mother said, "Koala Lou, I do love you. I always have and I always will." So we know from the author's words. We know from the event that happened. That's what she really, really wanted. And we know from her facial expression in the illustration. How do you feel when your mother hugs you and lets you know that you are loved? The mother in your life, whether it's your mom, your grandma, aunts, older sisters, whichever adult takes care of you at home, it feels wonderful when they give us a hug and let us know that they love us. And even when they don't, if they don't say it, they still do. They still love you. Sometimes they're just busy. Thanks for reading this book with me. Remember, it's very important to remember to look at the characters' illustrations and their facial expression in it, and to think about the words and the events that happen so that we can track how the character feels throughout the story.